Hello everyone. Today I will be introducing you to the chapter Electricity. Let me start off by asking a very simple question. Why do you think electricity is important, or why do we need electricity? Electricity has many uses in our day-to-day life, and we cannot think of a world without it. It is the most convenient form of energy and has a variety of uses in our homes, schools, hospitals, industries, and so on. Modern means of transportation and communication systems have been revolutionized by electricity. Electric trains and electric cars are some of the quickest means of travel. They are also eco-friendly, that means they do not cause any kind of pollution. Electricity also provides means of amusement like radio, TV, and cinema. Modern equipments like computer, mobile, and even robots have been developed because of electricity. Now let us see how electricity is useful at our homes. Electricity is used for lighting our rooms, to operate fans and ACs, and other domestic appliances like fridge, washing machine, electric stove, etc. At schools, electricity is mainly used to operate devices like desktops, laptops, iPads, smartboards, and projectors. It is also used to operate printers and scanners. And since we need to ensure the safety of students, electricity is used to operate security cameras and intercom machines. At hospitals, it is necessary to have uninterrupted power supply to operate some of the critical machines like MRI and ultrasound machines, X-ray and scanning machines, ECG and laser machines. At industries, electricity plays a major role in the manufacturing process. We have been talking about the importance or the uses of electricity. But what exactly do we mean by electricity? What is electricity? Electricity or electric current is the flow of electric charges through a conductor. I repeat myself. Electricity or electric current is the flow of electric charges through a conductor. We can observe that in this definition there are two important terms. One is electric charge and the other is conductor. First, let us talk about what is a conductor. In physics, there are two types of materials, conductors and insulators. Conductors are materials which allow electric current to flow through it easily. They do not offer any kind of resistance to the flow of electric current. Some of the examples are silver, gold, copper, steel, and seawater. Human body is also a good conductor of electricity. That is why you experience a shock when you touch a live wire. Insulators are materials which do not allow electric current to flow through it. Some of the examples are rubber, glass, oil, diamond, wool, and dry wood. I hope all of you have understood the basic differences between conductors and insulators. But have you ever wondered why conductors allow electric current to flow through it and why insulators do not allow electric current to flow through it? We all know that all these substances are made up of atoms, and each atom consists of three main subatomic particles: protons, neutrons, and electrons. Protons and neutrons constitute the nucleus of an atom, while electrons orbit around the nucleus. In conductors, the outermost electrons, also called as the valence electrons, are loosely held by the nuclei of their atoms. Hence, these electrons become free and can move from one atom to another atom throughout the conductor. However, the electrons present in insulators are strongly held by the nuclei of their atoms. So, there are no free electrons which can move from one atom to another atom in an insulator. So, the movement of free electrons throughout the conductor gives rise to electric current. And since there are no free electrons in insulators, it does not allow electric current to flow through it. The free electrons are nothing but the charge carriers. The charge on an electron is equal to minus 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulombs. Now let us study about the properties of electric charge. The first property is the conservation property. Before I state the conservation property, let me give you an example. Here we have a woolen cloth and an ebonite rod. If we rub the two objects against each other, the loosely bound electrons will get transferred from the woolen cloth to the ebonite rod. So, the ebonite rod which has gained the electrons will become negatively charged, and the woolen cloth which has lost the electrons will become positively charged. So, we can state that charge on an isolated body or object will remain constant. Charges are neither being created nor being destroyed. When two charged bodies, Q1 and Q2, are brought in contact with each other, the charge is shared equally between the two bodies. The charge on either of the two bodies is equal to Q1 plus Q2 divided by 2. The next property is the quantization property, which states that charge on an isolated body is an integral multiple of charge on an electron. That is, Q is equal to N into E, where N is the number of electrons and E is the charge on an electron. So, if we have 6.25 into 10 to the power of 18 electrons, then the charge on all the electrons together is equal to 1 coulomb. The last property is the additive property, which states that charges can be added or subtracted algebraically. Let me give you an example for this. If we have a body A having a charge of plus 1 coulomb and a body B having a charge of minus 1 coulomb, the net charge is equal to 0 coulomb. Now, since we have a clear picture of what is an electric charge and what is a conductor, let us try to define electric current in a more appropriate manner. If a charge Q flows across a given cross-section of a conductor in time t, then the current I through the cross-section is given by I is equal to Q by T. Electric current is always expressed in amperes. If 1 coulomb of charge flows across a given cross-section of a conductor in 1 second, then the current through the cross-section is equal to 1 ampere. Now let me show you two cases, case 1 and case 2. Observe the pictures and decide in which of the following cases will the water flow from tank A to tank B. In this picture, you can observe that the tanks are interconnected by a perfectly horizontal pipe. The water levels in both the tanks are equal. So in this case, do you think whether the water will flow from tank A to tank B? I'm sure you've guessed it right. In this case, the water cannot flow from tank A to tank B. In case 2, you can observe that tank A is situated at a higher level and tank B is placed at a lower level. So, do you think whether water will flow from tank A to tank B? Yes, you're absolutely right. In this case, the water will flow from tank A to tank B due to the pressure difference between the two tanks. Similarly, electrons move through the conductor only if there is a difference of electric pressure called as potential difference along the conductor. This potential difference may be produced due to a battery consisting of one or more cells. Potential difference can be defined as work done to move a unit positive charge from one point to another point in an external electric field. So V is equal to W by Q. Potential difference is expressed in volts. If 1 joule of work is done to move 1 coulomb of charge from one point to another point in an external electric field, then the potential difference between the 2 points is equal to 1 volt. I hope all of you enjoyed this video. Kindly like, share and subscribe to my channel for more such content. Hit that bell icon to be notified whenever a new video is uploaded. Thank you.